Welcome back, guys, to another tutorial here. Today we are going to talk about Ansible. Ansible being a tool that is used to do a lot of cool things. I hope you are not one of those people who are intimidated by Ansible, right? To be honest with you, I was one of those people, right? But once I took a look at Ansible and played with it a little bit, I became a little bit more comfortable in using it, and I hope that at the end of this video that you are also comfortable running your playbooks with Ansible. Okay, let's get started. Ansible. Why use Ansible, right? So as engineers, software engineers, infrastructure engineers, platform engineers, whoever, as long as you deal with having to configure machines, whether it's servers or whatever, there's a time when you find yourself in a situation where you have to say configure a bunch of those servers. Let's say if you have one server to configure, you could do that manually, right? But that's not the most efficient way of doing this, because what if you had 100 servers or 1,000 servers that you wanted to configure? How would you do that, right? You cannot do just one server at a time, because that's going to take you forever, right? Now that's one use case for Ansible, right? So the second one is, now let's say you are going to configure those 1,000 servers. Now think how many repetitive tasks you'll be doing here. You probably will be running the same configurations over and over and over and over, and at some point you're gonna make mistakes. Okay, let's all admit, don't lie. We all make mistakes, and the more you try to copy to the next server, copying configs to the next server, to the next one, it's fairly easy to make mistakes, because we're all humans. Okay, now that's where Ansible comes in. It's going to allow you to configure a bunch of servers, a bunch of devices, whatever, with a push of a button at the same time. And it's going to save you money, because instead of having 10 engineers, 20 engineers, you're now going to have just a couple of them to do this. Maybe one person to configure all of your 1,000 servers, whatever. Now it's going to be fast, because unlike manual configuration, where you're going from one server to another, with a push of a button you can configure 100, 1,000, whatever servers at the same time, and the risk of making mistakes is substantially reduced. I hope that this video here, I'm gonna hope that I can explain to you why you should also try learning Ansible. Let's get started. Ansible is a tool that is used, like I said, to push configurations on devices, for configuration management, and it's also used in orchestration. By orchestration here, I mean you package your, you can push your applications and have them interact with each other within a network, whatever, connect to the network, and do a bunch of other things all together. And thanks to Ansible, you can do all that, and you can deploy your applications on servers or whatever with just a push of a button, and you send all your app deployment through Ansible with a click of a button, thanks to the tool. Now, how do you do that? So there is this language. It's a language. The syntax in which you write your playbooks. Okay, these are the three common data serialization languages that are out there. You have XML on the far left. In the middle, you have JavaScript, object notation, JSON, and then on the far right, you have YAML, which stands for YAML and a markup language. So that's what it looks like. It's plain simple. It looks like plain English, right? You have your server, the name of the server, the owner, created, blah blah blah, status, blah blah blah. This is a set of instructions or configurations or whatever that you have in your playbook on your server that you're trying to push to, say, a server or whatever. And it's written in YAML for Ansible, and that's how it's going to look like when you're writing your playbooks. Okay. Now, what are the alternatives for to Ansible that are out there? There are two alternatives. There's Puppet and Chef, and the main difference here being that Ansible is the only one of the three that you can have a server here and your client. So your server here, your client nodes here, and your server can push configurations over to your nodes. But also you can go to your nodes, set them up to be able to pull configurations from your server. Okay, so you can push from your server over to the nodes, or you can have your nodes pull configurations from your server. So push and pull, that's Ansible. But these two, Puppet and Chef, you can only do a pull. So meaning your nodes will only be able to pull configurations from the server, but you cannot push the configuration using Puppet or Chef. So that's the main difference. Okay. That's pretty much it as far as the introduction to this. Let's dive into the practical side of this. Right? Are you ready? Let's go. I'm gonna bring over my Virtualbox environment here. If you don't know how to set this up, I highly advise you to look into how to get your virtual environment set up, because that's the best way to test. It's the best way to test technologies like this. You don't want to test this on your actual computer, just in case things go wrong. You want to be able to revert back to, whatever state that you want. So virtual environment is the best way for you to be able to test this. I like this. So I already cloned my machines here, and I have two new machines down here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and rename every one of them. So the first one, I'm going to call it, it's going to be my node, the node. Okay, that's going to be our target machine on which we are going to try to push configurations to. And then the second one is going to be so I right click and go to settings. And this one is going to be my Ansible server. My Ansible server. This is where we are going to have our playbook set up and our target machines that we are going to try to configure remotely. Okay, perfect. So we have our server here, and then we have our target machine here. One more thing I want to show you as well is you got to make sure that your Ansible, especially in these virtual environment settings, you want to make sure that your two machines here can communicate. So the way to do that, networking 101. Okay. Let's go to network. Let me go back. So you make sure you go to File, Preferences. Okay, and I will link a video down here in the descriptions showing you how to do all of this setting up. Okay, hopefully if this is the choice you want to go with, I'm gonna have the link down there for you to be able to follow the steps on how to do this. Okay, you go to Preferences, Network, and then you want to set up a network. And then, so as you can see, I double clicked on that. We have a NAT network at 10.0.2.0/24 subnet. Okay, we have this subnetwork. Make sure that it supports DHCP and click OK. Okay, go here on the server and go to File up there, File, Preferences, and Network, Add. Okay, it's already there actually. So You don't need to add anything, but you can add and remove whatever you want, however you want, okay? Let me go ahead and remove it so I can show you again. So you click on this green button, click on that. It's okay, click on that again. And as you can see, the name is there, the subnetwork, and then support DHCP, yes, so DHCP is your protocol that allows to assign IP addresses to machines in a dynamic way, meaning you have 3 machines up, they join a network, whatever, and then the DHCP server discovers those machines and assigns IP addresses to every one of them, okay? And it obviously defined which network, subnetwork we want to use, okay? Cool. Save. And then I want to go to settings for every one of these machines and choose in the network section here. Make sure that I choose NAT network, okay? And in the NAT network, I'm going to pick the one we just created, which is NAT network, okay? Hit OK. I'm going to do the same here for the node, not the machine, the node 1, the target. So I'll go to settings, go to the network section on the far left, the left hand side, choose, instead of NAT, you gotta choose your NAT network as an option, okay? And then here in the drop down menu, if you only have one network you created, obviously you're gonna have only one choice here. That's what we want, that's fine. Click OK. Notice that before I leave, notice that there's a bunch of other choices you could have made here. There's bridged adapter kind of network, all of that. I'm going to share a link down here from this place where you can learn in details how to choose which for what purpose, okay? Now hit save. Now we have the network configured properly. The 2 servers, the server and the target node should be able to talk to each other, okay? Let's go ahead and fire these machines up, okay? I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back when these 2 machines are up, okay? All right, so I'm going to log in everyone into the server, okay? And then I'm going to do the same here for the target node, okay? Let me go ahead and minimize these windows, okay? Now, a couple of things we want to do. First is, as you can see here, this is the name. That's the node machine, and that's the server, machine. Okay. On the node, the client or the target machine, I'm gonna open the command terminal. Okay. I'm gonna open the Firefox browser, and I'm gonna type localhost and hit enter. See, we are getting nothing, okay? Now, I'm gonna minimize this, close this for now, create this directory here. This is the directory where we are going to try to push our configurations to, and it's gonna make sense later on when I explain to you. I'm gonna have it in the var folder. It's gonna be in the www, the website, HTML, okay? And option -p because it's we're gonna create a bunch of folders. The www is gonna be the parent folder for the HTML. Okay, sudo, so we don't have the permission. We're gonna be the root user. Yes, let's see if we have this directory now. Var www HTML. There we go. So we are inside that directory, and we can go ahead and create a file named index.html. Oops. Sudo. Okay. If we run ls command again, you can see that the file is listed inside the var www.html/index location. Okay, the index.html is located in this directory. Okay, back to the home directory, and let's go ahead. Also, another thing you're going to make sure you do is you have to make sure that you have SSH running on this machine, and I'm going to put a link down in the description on how to install SSH for Ubuntu. But this is something you can obviously look up on the internet, okay? Because the remote machine has to be able to permit the incoming request from the server, okay? So we have that. So we have that, and let's go ahead and go over to the Ansible server machine, okay? Let me drag this over. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna create. First of all, you're gonna run and install Ansible, and the way you do that is for Red Hat based distros like CentOS. You can use yum install whatever, but for Debian based distribution like Ubuntu, the command for that is I have here steps that you can follow, and I'm going to put a link down in the description also on how to install Ansible, so you can follow those steps. But I already have it installed here. As a matter of fact, let me show you. So we're going to run the command ansible and -- version. As you can see, I have Ansible 2.9.6 installed. But if I did not have this is how I was going to install this, okay? It's apt space, now sudo. You have to have a root privilege to be able to install programs on your computer here. So sudo apt update first. So you do that. When you run this command, it's going to update your machine to the current state, and then you want to run sudo apt install and then Ansible. Okay, when you run this, it's going to ask you if you want to proceed. Type yes or Y for yes, and just follow the steps. And in the end, when you run this command, Ansible -- version, you should be able to see something similar to this. Okay, cool. So you have your Ansible installed. The next step you want to do is you've got to run a few commands here to check your inventory file. Okay, and the command for that is there's multiple ways you can do that, but you can do gedit and then go to the path where your host files are located for Ansible, and this is usually in etc/ansible/host. Enter. When you do that, this document gets opened. This is where you're going to have all of your target nodes explicitly listed, okay, for the server to know which one to target. Okay, at the top, the document is self-explanatory. Okay, it says this is the default Ansible host file. It should be located in etc/ansible/host directory. Comments start with the hashtag. Blank lines are ignored. Group names are enclosed in square brackets. You can enter host names or IP addresses of your target nodes, and also you can do one node can be a member of multiple groups. Okay, and then you scroll down. There's this section that tells you these are your web servers, and then there's a section that tells you these are your database servers. Okay, like MySQL, whatever. Okay, you come to this section, you list one by one, or a range of those in here. Okay, and in this case, it's a web server that we wanna configure. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is set these configurations here. First of all, I'm gonna define my group of machines that I'm targeting, the name of the group. So I'm going to call it Ansible client group. Okay, and then I'm going to list every one of the target machines that I intend to configure or push configurations to. Okay, let's go over to the node machine on the right hand side. Type the command ifconfig. Let's see what IP address we have. So we got this IP address 10.0.2.15. So 10.0.2.15 space ansible SSH user client node. The user is this cloud-devops. So cloud-devops and then space. And then we're going to define the SSH password that we are going to use to log in. Okay, and this is going to be, I set it to be something simple so that we can remember, but obviously you want to use a strong password. Okay, now I think everything looks good. So we got the target IP, you got your SSH user of the client node, which is Cloud DevOps. You got your password set up. Now let's go ahead and exit. Oops, guess what? We entered this document as a read-only. So what I'm gonna do is rerun the same thing, but instead put sudo in the front. Okay, because we want to be able to modify the document. Okay, so back here 10.0.2.15 and ansible _SSH _user equal cloud DevOps space, and then ansible _SSH password is going to be ansible123. This is the password on the client node that we are going to use to remotely log in or push configurations with. Obviously we have to define the group first up here, and the group was named Ansible client group. Okay, so we defined our Ansible client group. We put in our node target. So we're going to go ahead and save the changes here to the file, and then close. And now if we're done with so what we just finished doing, that document, that's what we call inventory. Okay, in Ansible, that's your inventory of your target machines. Okay, web servers, database servers, you name it. Okay, everything you're trying to target, that's where you're going to list it. Okay, one by one or as a range of IP addresses. Okay, next we're gonna edit. So we're gonna create our first playbook. Okay, so we're gonna create the playbook that we are going to push over to the node. Okay, you ready? So let's call this sample-playbook.yaml. Remember, Ansible uses YAML. Okay, so enter. So the document comes up like that. The first thing you want to do is type -- 3 dashes and then enter, and that's how your YAML file is going to start. Okay, dash again. Now we are ready to start putting in things. So we're going to define the name of our playbook. It's called this playbook.yaml. Okay, and be careful because YAML is very sensitive to the indentation. Okay, so whatever spacing you put in there, make sure you're consistent across. So client underscore client group. What did I call it? Client group. Yeah, that's the group for which our target node is part of, okay, which we created in the host file. Okay, the remote user is going to be I want my remote user to have root privilege, okay, and become have that privilege level. I'm gonna say true. The task that I'm gonna do is the first name of the task that we want to do is we want to install Apache server over on the client side. Okay, that's one of the tasks that we want to do. How are we gonna do that? Run the command apt for Ubuntu. Obviously for CentOS or Red Hat, you want to run yum, like yum, yum. But here we're gonna do apt and enter. Come over there, come over here, and specify the name of the service that we are trying to install here, and the state should be the latest. Okay, the latest. Next task. Okay, our next task is gonna be start Apache. So we're gonna start the web server, and the service is going to be here. My indentations are appropriate. Okay, so I got name Apache 2 state. It should be started. Okay, and then my other task is going to be to create some content on the target node. Okay, this is what we are pushing over to the target node. Enter, and the task that we are going to do is copy content. The content are going to say, enclosed in double quotes, yay, congratulations on your first Ansible push. Okay, enter, and the destination is going to be the var folder www/html/index.html, which is the folder we created over on the target node. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. Okay, and now after save, I'm gonna close this. What I'm gonna do is test this sample playbook we just created to make sure that the syntax, everything looks fine. Okay, you run the command ansible-playbook, okay, and then the name of your sample, what did we call the folder? I mean the playbook, sample playbook. Okay, YAML, and then syntax check -- syntax check. Enter. If everything is okay, it should return the name of your file. In this case, everything is good. It looks good. Okay, otherwise, if it did not pass the check, the testing to make sure that the syntax is okay, it was going to return an error here. Okay, if it's successful, it's going to return the name of your file. Now we are ready to push our sample book over to the client node. Okay, now we are ready to send it over to this client machine that we have here on the right hand side. So the command for that is, let me scroll over here for you to see, is ansible-playbook, the name of your playbook .yaml, and then hit enter. it says there's a missing sudo password. Okay, this is one of the things, guys, that you're gonna have to figure out, you know, troubleshooting issues, and this is one of them. It says missing sudo password. Let's troubleshoot this. I took a couple of minutes here and Google searched this error here, and I think we can try with this. So I'm gonna do -K, okay, capital K. So what this is gonna do, it's gonna prompt us to enter the root password, because that was the problem here. Okay, you see where it says missing sudo password. So you gotta get used to this, right? Things gonna fail like this. What you're gonna do is you know, copy that error message, whatever, try to Google online, see what other people say. Places like Stack Overflow are good places to find what other developers or people are saying. Okay, so that's what I found out. So we're gonna run the -K. It's gonna ask me for the password, and I just entered the password. That was the password of the client target machine that I want to target. Okay, the Ansible-123 password that we used earlier. Okay, now the push is done. It's through. As you can notice here, we have this says okay. Gathering facts was successful. Installing Apache, one of those tasks that we had in the sample-playbook.yaml, was installing Apache 2, right? So that was successful. And then it was successfully able to start the Apache 2 as well. It says okay. And creating content also was changed. Okay, total of successful task and failed 0, skipped 0. Okay, now this, we want to read this whole line down here, right? Because that's going to tell you, you know, if your push has been successful or not. Let's go over to the client and see what just happened. Okay, I hope you're also as excited as I am. Okay, let's go over to the client side. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Okay, double click on that. Now on my client machine, the node that we sent the configuration file over from the server to which we send the configuration file to, we should be able to pull up the push that we received from the server. Okay, now remember, we send it to the var/www/html folder. Okay, now I'm going to open my Firefox again, and this time I'm going to try to open my local host through my browser, see if it's going to load the message that we just received from the server. Localhost, enter. Look at that, guys. What is that? Isn't that amazing? Yay! Congratulations on your first Ansible push. We are on the client node machine up here, and we loaded our browser using localhost up there in the URL box URL, and guess what? The machine has displayed the message it's just received from the push from the server that we just did. Congratulations, you just finished pushing your first Ansible push over. Okay, let's try another one if you want, if you will. Okay, let's try to modify our playbook, right? Let's say congratulations on your second Ansible push. I'm gonna save. So saved. I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna push that again with the command ansible-playbook sample-playbook.yaml -K. It's gonna ask me for the password of the remote target. Ansible-123. That's the password of my target client. Enter. It's gathering facts. check. The first step is good. Going through. Installing Apache, it's okay. It's going through. And creating content. Everything is good. So wherever it says green, that means it did not change that. That means I already had that over there. But what you say changed, that means that's the new thing that it's done over. This has never been modified because we already had Apache installed. But if it was not installed, this was going to say changed as well. Okay. Basically, what it says green, that means that we already had those things taken care of. I had already installed Apache. That's what it means. And the change here means I just pushed a new message. And down here, it's going to say, okay, 4 successful pushes. There was only one change, which was just the content that we just pushed over. Everything else was not new, okay? We had that over already, okay? We already had Apache installed and started over. That's why it's not marked as changed here. Good, perfect. Now, let's go back to the client machine and refresh. This is the client node machine. Let's refresh. Look at that. Yay, congratulations on your second Ansible push. Now, remember, like I told you, the purpose and the benefit of using Ansible is the fact that you can push these kind of configurations from one source, one server, over to hundreds or thousands of targets with the push of a button. Okay, so it saves you the cost. It's pretty much fast and risk-free, because with one change of the document, you can copy the same copy over to multiple targets, you know, and push your configurations, orchestrations, whatever, or app deployment, and have everything pushed over to your targets in a matter of seconds or minutes, just like that. Okay, congratulations. I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you're not intimidated as much now that you know how to do this. Okay, if I can do it, you can do it too. Bye bye.